Oh, yes, a happy birthday to Legislator Tui today. He's probably out celebrating and could not be with us this evening, so. But I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, February 22nd Monroe Town Board meeting. Can I get a motion to open up the meeting?
I will make that motion.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
And I.
So moved. Okay. Announcements in the community. Point one, Councilwoman Houle, you want to speak about the open house and the
Yes.
progress?
Yep. So Monday will be our first open house, inviting our residents, both new and people who have been here for a while, to come into Town Hall, take a look at all of the programs that we offer, the villages, the police departments, the fire department, MOVAC. And it's getting a lot of really good, I'm getting a lot of really good reactions. I saw one person say, I wish you would have done this 5 years ago. So it's great. The park will be there, which is good. They had a meeting that they had to kind of, work around, but they've been able to do that. And, we're getting that up. The only thing I have left to do is to give the maintenance people the outline of how I want this room set up, so.
Yeah, and I spoke to them today about it, so they're all set with it,
Yep.
because they had to come in and adjust this because of the seminar currently going on in here.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows, so the seminar in here is for continuing education credits for engineers. This is the second week that they're here, and it's been going very well, so. All right, anything else?
Nope, that's good.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. You'll have your maps Friday or Monday.
Excellent.
Look forward to that, Dory.
Hopefully
That's gonna
Friday.
be a good event.
Friday would
Well,
be
I
better.
know the one
Monday morning.
we'll have on Friday is from the county.
Uh-huh.
The one I'm getting from Saratoga is supposed to be next day aired on Thursday or Friday.
Okay,
So,
all right, excellent.
Stay here from Saratoga.
well, yeah.
It's a hike.
Ironically, I was up there this weekend and told the gentleman, if it's ready on Monday, I could have someone pick it up for you, so, from you, but he didn't respond, so.
And with gas prices, it might be cheaper to fly it down.
Yes, it will. Yep. Okay. That said, let's get into the public hearings. So I need a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law D-V1, Chapter 57 zoning, to amend the special permit requirements applicable to hotels.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
And I.
So moved.
Public comment?
No public comment? Anything to add, Councilman McGinn?
Just, that was sent up to the county for the GML review and also sent to the planning board for their input on that. So we're waiting for both, and we'll act accordingly.
Sounds like a plan. Okay.
If you want to put that off 2 meetings to give it
Yeah,
time
that's
to
what,
come back,
yep,
you
that's
know,
what I was gonna do. I was
which
gonna,
would be
the 21st.
21st.
Okay, you wanna make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adjourn the public hearing to March 21st at 7 PM or shortly thereafter.
I will second.
Seconded, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
And I.
Okay, so moved. Next up is a motion to open the continuation of public hearing for the proposed Arrow Park Water District. I'll make that motion.
Bingham to second.
Bingham to second. Anyone sign up to speak? No public comment. Mary, anything to add? I don't have any updates yet. Yeah.
Call to question, Supervisor.
Excuse me?
Call to question to open.
Thank you. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
And I.
Okay, so moved. For those of you out in the audience, you will notice that our town clerk is so excellent that she has the ability to correct me, and I do not get annoyed because I need correcting all the time. So thank you, Val.
I just need to ask who seconded that.
I did.
Mary did.
Mary Bingham.
Mary, thank you.
Okay,
Valerie is all business tonight.
yes. So
Have
if
we,
there's,
Just on this real quick, have we gotten anything back from MEG yet on the price or what this, cost is
No.
gonna be?
No, we haven't. And hopefully I will get that this week. I will tell you, the last 2 weeks I have been, I didn't focus on this with,
Quite all right, Mr.
yeah, no,
Oh,
no.
you're very busy.
No,
That's
no, no.
okay.
I was not busy. It was an oversight on my part.
No, please don't.
I will admit it. I was focused on making sure your agenda packet was perfect tonight.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
You have
Okay.
to chop the trees down first in order to
Yes.
have enough paper
Yes,
for your
yes.
agenda packet.
Yep. Okay, I will make a motion then to keep the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed Arrow Park Water District, and I'm going to push that off to April 4th
I will second that.
At 7
at
PM.
7 PM or immediately thereafter.
I'll second that.
Call the,
Oh, you did second it.
Sal
Sal seconded it, yeah. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. We need a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law E-V1, amending Chapter 57 to establish a two-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe north of Route 17.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Public comment?
No public comment. We're still waiting for the planner?
Yeah, we're still waiting for him to revise the draft, or actually come up with a new draft, so we can get that up to the county, and also a revised map, so we get that there as well as to the planning and ZBA. So-
Question. The draft that we have now, I think we want to send it to the planning board,
I think,
or,
I have to look at the last one, because I kind of got, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of got confused, because they were kind of
yes,
back
they
to
were
back.
back and forth.
And so I want to talk to Max, the planner, of course, and just get a finalized, copy of it, and then moving along that way.
Was I was feeling that it really doesn't need to go to the planning board because it's an allowed use, just like if you had a garage, it's an allowed accessory use. We're allowing
Right.
this two-family. So if you double check with Max, I would,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Mary, the only reason I wanted to send it to them is just kind of like a courtesy, you know what I mean? Just
and we want to make sure we're all on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah. I want them to
draft.
see it and say, hey, from a planning board perspective, we would have, issue A, B, and C with it, and then kind of take it from there. But, no, I know we don't have to, but,
All right.
You know,
I just want to make
we're
sure
trying to
that
be good
the
neighbors.
draft I'm looking at is the final draft.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get that, I'll speak to Max tomorrow. I sent him an email. I didn't get anything back, but I'll talk to him. We'll get that squared away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Going to keep that open till April?
I'm going to keep that open till April 4th. So I'll make, the-
Why don't we do 321 with that? Because if we get that back,
Okay.
then we can certainly move on getting it up to the county for the GML review and taking it from there,
okay?
So
Sounds
we'll make
good.
it 321. I'll make the motion that we
Open the continuation.
continue to 321-22 at 7 PM or immediately thereafter.
That's for the two-family dwelling
That's for
overlay.
the local law.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Next up, we need to set a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant. So I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for 2023 Community Development Block Grant application. And that public hearing will be set on March 7th, 2022, at 7 PM or immediately thereafter. The town invites public comments and suggestions regarding projects to be considered for funding under the Orange County Community Development Block Grant Program. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Another item on the agenda that we have to set the public hearing for is the Monroe Commons submission that we received. First, right?
At the public hearing,
Right, okay.
creation of the petition for a zoning amendment for the HI zone. I knew you were going to say that,
So, yeah.
the height.
Gotcha.
So
Height
I,
and the other.
I will make a motion to set the public hearing for the Monroe Commons petition regarding zoning.
Changes in the
cha-
HI zone.
Amendments in the existing zoning,
HI zone.
in the HI zone. Okay, for March 21st at 7 PM or immediately thereafter.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved. All right, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of January 18th, 2022?
Actually, just for the transcription, Supervisor.
Excuse me?
That's just for the transcription of the public hearings.
We
Okay,
approve the
Accepted the
regular
minutes.
minutes.
we accepted the minutes, right. We just need a motion to accept the public hearing transcription from January 18th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any alterations, changes, corrections? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved. Next up is the acceptance of the February 7th minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Question?
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Can I?
So moved. All right, next up is a general fund abstract. We have general fund abstract number 22-03 from the general fund containing checks 28176 through 28276 totaling $4,987,007.26. So I'll make a motion to approve that abstract.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved. Next up is item 7.1, which is the end-of-year budget transfers. So I'm going to make a motion that the town board of Town of Monroe approve the following 2021 end-of-year budget transfers as abstract 2022-01. In the A fund, $361,867.97. In the B fund, $40,080.68. In the DA fund, $30,766.10. The DB fund, $85,782.50. In the SR fund, $22,306.65. In the water funds, $31,263.49. And those total $572,067.39. So I will make that motion.
Second.
Any questions on that? Call,
The water funds are to cover shortages because of,
yes,
okay, yeah,
Yep.
that's fine.
okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved. Hold on. Just to clarify with everything, so those transfers were totaled to smooth out any negatives that were in the budget, and that there was multiple transfers in each different fund. So just wanted to make that clear for everyone. Okay, next item up is 8.1, which is the Rye Hill Preserve. We have representatives from Rye Hill Preserve, so if you want to step up to the mic and Let us know why you're here.
Hi,
If you could just state your name and just speak into the mic. So if the mic lights up, then you're good. You could grab another chair if you want to come up. You can put two of yous up there.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is, lighting up. So maybe I,
Yeah, you're in.
okay, excellent.
Really
Good
yelling.
evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Buss, and I am General Counsel for Sunbrook Partners, which is an organization that has signed an agreement to purchase what is known as the High Hill Preserve. 7 parcels. Maybe I'll sit down.
Just sit down, it's easier.
And they total approximately 262 and a half acres of land. This body had enacted a conservation cluster residential floating zone. And
Your light went off.
that zone, and to make sure that the proposal meets your requirements as well. One of the major aspects of that is that 65% of the land not be developed, and that the remaining portion be primarily developed in clusters. From that, we take the sense that you want to preserve the open space and the beautiful areas that you have up here. And so our proposal is to set aside approximately 171 acres, donated actually to a land trust and leave it forever wild. We would perhaps put some hiking trails in it, but nothing else really. And then in the remaining 91 acres, we're going to cluster 491 units of housing, which is the number of units in your draft proposal that you had originally projected. We changed the housing mix somewhat to focus more on a market that we believe has the potential to make this worthwhile for us, and that is senior housing. So even though you're asking that we try to set aside 15% for senior-directed housing, we've actually set aside 200 of the 491 units with the expectation that those will be senior housing. And you'll see when you take a look at the housing mix that most of the units are, I think it's about 180, are two-bedroom units, and then some one-bedrooms, and I have to take a look at myself, I believe we had 80 three-bedroom units. So they're not going to be overly large units, and therefore we expect that the fiscal impact will be smaller because our target audience is primarily going to be people whose children have perhaps grown up or maybe not. But whoever wants to either rent or purchase, we're open to that. The existing services in terms of municipal sewer and water, we believe are all there. We have an application we're going to be making for an extension of one of the water lines, but other than that, I think everything is provided for, and we've done an analysis on that. We have that information in the documents we presented to you. We also have a traffic study that we've completed showing minimal impact, but we put that in the papers, and in the spirit of this being 2/2/22, I have 2 engineers with me this evening. First, I have Bill Schneider and also Fred Munt. Bill and Fred are both with an organization called PS&S, which actually was the engineering firm that was originally employed to try to develop the concept. And we thought what better group to go to try to get this as close to what you had designed as PS&S. So they're our primary engineers. We've also retained a traffic engineer, a geotechnical engineer, a marketing consultant. I do the legal part. So we're moving ahead pretty quickly. And I don't know, maybe, Bill, you want to go through some of the drawings or show them some of the proposals of what we have in mind?
We can do that. Hopefully I don't need the microphone, but this is our...
You can move that up here. Is the portable?
Oh, I don't know where he has it.
Are you recording this? Is that why we need the
Yeah.
mic?
We video it and it gets put on a public access channel, that's why. Hey, just one second. Hey, George, you have the portable mic downstairs?
So, Bill, maybe I could hand you this?
I don't know. If I had a portable, I'd feel like a game show host.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, so the architect couldn't be here, he's out of town, but he did do a couple of renderings. Now, a large part of our buildings are going to be townhomes, as was mentioned, I believe 191 total, right? Will be townhomes. So he's depicted these on here to give you an idea of what we're hard copies. Might look like. None of this is set in stone, of course. Certainly open to comment and for what you'd like to see, but this is the architect.
It's a senior.
And this is an example of what townhomes could look like. Right, they would be like single-family attached dwellings, your standard townhome development. It was our intention to make them
Not adult-proof.
I was thinking the same thing, Jeff. If you could,
Bill, you're going to have to either you do this or I'll translate.
Okay.
why don't you move that closer?
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that the
Oh, I
person-
can get up, I have legs.
Yeah, we can, if you face it towards us, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Survey said, no.
Okay.
So this is the, what we call the Eagle Ridge side, and then this would be the Shea Meadows side. And on this side is exclusively townhomes, approximately, I think we said 90 or 91. 91 would be on this side. So you'd come in off of Orange Turnpike, and this would be exclusively townhomes, and then a clubhouse, which would be provided here. And then an emergency egress or ingress over here would be provided so that the fire department emergency vehicles could get through if they needed to. There are various points of connection for sanitary sewer. There's sewer over here, and there's sewer over here, both of which are possible to connect to. You could do it by gravity or pump station, but we're hoping to go across and connect over here. So the whole thing could be done by gravity, no pump stations, no backup power, no alarms, no nothing. All gravity, we're hoping. And of course, crossing over and through here, we'll have to go through some wetlands. That's Chapter 57 of the code, and we'll comply with everything. Chapter 56, I'm sorry, of the Town of Monroe Code. And we'll go, and we'll of course comply with that. And on this side is where we've presented the senior buildings, right here. And there's some parking here, but there's also going to be some parking underneath the buildings to try to limit. When you do these developments, you wind up with so much parking, it tends to start to look like a Costco, right? So we want to try to we put some parking underneath the buildings to try to hide some of that. And that'll be open garages, essentially, so that they'll be able to park underneath. And then here are three other apartment buildings, just for regular apartments. And then the townhomes will be up here. This is the highest point on this side, so we figured the townhomes up there would give people a nice view, and they'd be very desirable. Over here, we also have connection to public sewer over here on Rye Hill Road. This is 8-inch gravity sewer, and that'll go down, and there's a sewer improvement that the County of Orange is planning to make, and it's in their budget, so I'm hoping they make it. And that would eliminate 2 pump stations, and then everything will go gravity. It'll be, it's a nice project. So we're hoping to go down that way. And the connections to the water would also be on Rye Hill Road. So that's the long and short of it. Pop over here. Here's a little bit more color. All right. So here, as Jeff mentioned, this would be the conservation area, which is significant, 171 acres. From Yonkers, I come from Yonkers. I got 1/4 acres a lot for me, so 171 I can't even imagine. But, and then here's the development parcels and how they look. Eagle Ridge and our Shane Meadows. So that's it in a nutshell. Are there any questions or anything you'd like to know that I can help?
The only thing that was also initially discussed was the fact that on the conservation portion of it, there were going to be some activities aside from hiking built, whether the town board determines or the planning board determines the baseball field, the soccer field, or something like that.
Passive and active.
Passive and active.
Yeah, you'll see that we have 2 community centers, and we're looking at putting pool or something there, but that is different, I think, than what you're talking
Right,
about,
that's-
because that would be
that's
for the
internal.
residents, right?
Your pool is internal, and so is the
So-
clubhouse.
Yeah, and I recognize that your proposal called for what we called a recreation area with some sort of sport field. They're actually quite expensive, depending upon how they're built. So we may, need to be a little realistic about what we put in there, because we started looking at some of the costs, and they were very high. But I'd be open to suggestions, what type of recreational facility you think might be good in there. And, we certainly have a lot of space, and, 171 acres, to have some more active recreation other than just bird watching and hiking.
Right, but I think there are some wetlands in there, too.
Oh, there are.
Yes, so we couldn't build a ball field on top of the wetlands anyway, so we would preserve that maybe for the hiking trails and the passive recreation. Yeah. Right.
One of the things we did, your original maps that you had were not current in terms of wetlands, so we reflagged them and updated them. So we have that all delineated, and then you have what's called an adjacent wetland area that you can't work or develop in also, and those are like setbacks in all of our drawings. You'll see that we're not doing any kind of development in there. No, certainly housing, and certainly not active recreation. Yeah.
We're going to be using water from Water District 1. The High Ridge. So you're going to do some improvements to the Water District pump house?
If necessary.
Okay.
We'll have to evaluate that to see what's required.
I don't think anybody brought that up before, but be curious as to what that is, and would entertain it.
I'm sure before you go to the planning board, they'll fill you in on that.
The district over here, this side is not in the district, and we would have to petition the water district to include it on this side.
I think some of the old plans had individual wells over there, so you're right, you would have to petition to be brought into the district.
Right, and unfortunately, the CCR zone doesn't require central water and sewer, so we would have to.
Thanks, Jake.
I remember what I said.
Talking about the public water system.
Yes, the public water system, we could on this side do a community well, and then we would have to become a small water system under the New York State Department of Health guidelines, and that brings with it additional monitoring and regular reporting to the New York State Department of Health. And we prefer to avoid that and then connect directly to a public water supply system, which is easier, as long as there's enough water and we can get into the system.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'm curious to know on the acreage that we're going to reserve wetlands, well, that's already been, my mic's not on, now it is. I'm curious to know what percentage of that area is wetlands and what percentage of that area is that buffer zone that prevents us from doing anything on. Do we know that?
No, I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
We can certainly provide that to the best of our ability, give you an estimate on what we think the 65% conservation area is wetland buffer and which is not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've mapped it out. We just didn't do the calculation, but we can
Okay.
do that, And I've actually walked the site. Actually, the areas that we're not developing are beautiful places to walk.
Yeah.
Some amazing trees there that we're not going to touch, huge, beautiful. And I think it would just be a great area for the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple.
Counsel? Oh, you have a couple questions? Go ahead.
I sure do there, Mr. Supervisor.
Go ahead.
So, a couple of questions. I know you'd said regarding the senior that you weren't sure what the mix on that would be for rental or for sale or market. I guess my question is, now obviously the townhouses up top, where number 2 is there, those are going to be for, market rate townhouses, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how are you going to figure out that breakdown? Is that going to be what market forces dictate when you put shovels in the ground, or when are we going to know that is basically the question?
Yeah, I think there's 2 issues there. One is what are going to be rentals and what are going to be, say, condos or something. And we haven't finalized our planning on that yet. And we're the market, as everybody knows, is very unusual at the moment. It will, in our opinion, eventually get closer to normal, when we get through with the pandemic and the concerns. But I think people have a slightly different attitude, which is more towards moving to a community like this, where they might feel a little bit more safe and secure and know that they've got all this natural area around them. So we think that's a plus for us. But in terms of, we also have an affordability requirement in your thing, so we're going to meet that. You got a 20% affordability requirement.
Okay.
But how the rest of the units will be spread out, I don't really know.
But what do you foresee as being like, what section of that would you jump off and start on first? Would it be Eagle Ridge or Shea Meadows or simultaneous, or what's your thoughts on that?
It's also something we're trying to develop, and I think if you read what we wrote and in your conservation cluster residential floating zone, it says we're supposed to tell you if we're going to phase or do everything at once. Our original hope was to try to do everything at once, but I don't know how realistic that would be. Getting construction materials and lumber and everything else right now, there's such a backlog on materials. Plus, as the market's kind of changing, it probably makes more sense to phase this a little bit. In terms of what we would build first, what we think we could sell first is what we're going to build first or rent first.
So, do you see, what do you see as being like an HOA, like, on this? I know that's a little putting the cart before the horse kind of, but do you see both areas being HOAs, or, because they're like, what I see from the separate housing types in the Shea Meadows area, you could actually have, an HOA for one area, not for the other. Any thoughts on any of that, or?
Yes, we've been looking at that a lot, and I'm personally a fan of homeowner associations. I find it's really good when the neighborhood is directly involved in a lot of planning for how services are delivered, basically, if you will, on the local level. And in terms of maintenance of some of the common areas like that, the HOA would be, I think, an excellent way to do that, and it might be more attractive for the town. I don't want to take over responsibility for roads, but in terms of like cleaning sidewalks and maintaining the hiking trails and recreational areas and things like that, the HOA, I think, would be a very good vehicle to accomplish that at a cost-effective way and getting the community involved in a very good way.
I know you said you had retained a marketing specialist or firm for this. What do you, I mean, obviously, they know what they're going to target, but how wide a net are you throwing here? Is this going to be tri-state? Is it going to be regional? Is it going to be, are you just focusing on New York City, or are you looking at just Orange County? What's the thoughts on that?
Most of the marketing study was, Orange County related, local looking. There's a lot of activity, coming, and there's a lot of things planned. And you got, 1,500 units at Woodbury Commons, I see somebody's planning, so, those types of developments will clearly have an impact. But we were looking at, Orange County primarily in terms of our marketing study, and we know it'll draw people regionally. And, I expect, some people coming from, further down, like the more developed, New York City, Yonkers, metropolitan area coming north, looking for a little bit more space. And that's one of the markets that we think we can attract to come up here. I don't know if that answers your question, Mike.
No, it does. I'm just trying to kind of gauge where these folks are coming from, that's all,
Yeah, that's what all our marketing tells us. It's actually a little bit more. It's like 200 out of the 491 units, so that's almost 45%, something like that, yeah. And you'll see, like, there's a heavy 370 two-bedroom units. I mean, that's really where we're focusing, two bedrooms. One bedroom, we're not sure, like, what that market really is up here. And 3 bedrooms and above, we got a sense that that's not where the town really wanted us to go. So 2 bedrooms seem to be very comfortable, and the marketing people like that.
I'm going to assume that if you raises, because of the fact you don't have, you'd have to petition for water on the Eagle Ridge property, that the High Ridge, Rye Hill property would be where it would commence. Because you already have water there, and I don't know how long it would take to petition to achieve getting water on the Eagle Ridge, if that's the route you go.
I don't know how long it takes to get the water petition processed. I have no idea.
Obviously, assuming that this plan all comes together and we are all in agreement that we like it, and the breakdowns of the housing types, and of course, we'll do everything we can to move that along on our end. And certainly a water system is an option, but I think, again, the cheapest and quickest thing is to hook into municipal.
Yeah, just so you know, some of our scheduling, and I don't want to get too detailed into our personal financial situations, but we have the capital available to acquire the land, but we have an option basically with the current owners that expires in September, and then we can pay for some short extensions. We would like to, be at a place where we know what we can and can't do with this land, so we can make a decision. We're not planning on walking away from this, but if we had to, we would. But we'd be out of pocket a couple of $100,000, maybe $400,000 or $500,000, just in terms of permitting and other types of expense. And then we'd have a debate with the owner. So we think it makes good economic sense to move this along, but we need to get town board approval, then we need to get planning board approval, then it comes back to the town board. then, we have to go back to the planning board for a site plan, and we're going to have to go to the county and get, clarity on sewer and, maybe some issues with New York State DEC about wetlands or whatever. So it's not going to be, we're going to be a shovel in the ground in March or April. It's going to be, a following year till we get to those levels. But, those are and then we don't know where the market is going to be, or whether things are going to be in supply or interest rates are going to go up high, and that might drive us more towards rental than sales. So we're keeping our options open on that, but we're wide-eyed and open about it.
So what's the mix in rentals versus sales in this?
We haven't finalized that.
You haven't finalized,
We're
okay.
keeping that open.
Okay,
And it might just get determined by the market, for us.
at that point.
Yeah, but we think either way, it makes good economic sense, the project. Okay. I want to thank everybody. First of all, you're just very courteous and
Yeah,
easy
thank
group
you.
to appear in front of, and apologies for the problems with the electronic versions, but we'll clean that up hopefully tomorrow with your town clerk.
So everybody knows, so it was a problem for Valerie to download the maps from the electronic versions. Yeah, the file was too big, yeah. So we'll get it worked out. This way it can be posted online and the public can view it. Mr. Nugent, anything to add?
Just, Jeff, where are you, in other words, and I don't know what's been filed or not filed at this point. I only saw the 2 documents that were on Word docs. I haven't seen anything else. So, in other words, have you filed all these documents with the clerk as a master development plan?
That was the idea.
The third one is the one that we're having trouble with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a
So-
copy?
I only have what was on board docs, the rendering and narrative.
I will forward you.
I mean, you could send me a Dropbox link or something, that's fine, I can
Okay.
access it that way,
Okay.
and I'll download it from there if that's doable.
Okay. We'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, and I don't, so that's why I was asking, once it's filed, then we can start that process and move things forward in terms of, the landing of the CCR zone and the review of that, and the planning board referral. And, I don't think that process will take a very long time, and I understand the site plan and all that will take a bit longer, to go through that process. But I don't think I don't foresee too much of a delay on this initial process of the CCR and whether or not that zone gets landed on the property.
And I think probably it'd be sometime in the next 2 weeks or so, I think we probably should have a technical review meeting just to kind of discuss some of the finer points of this. Where we go through the process at the landing, formal application and so forth.
Like
Okay.
a workshop meeting.
A workshop meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Thank
We'd be
you.
very open to that, yeah.
Yeah,
Beth,
and I think that'd be
I
a good
saw it.
idea to firm up some of these issues. Just so off, like the top of my head, seeing that senior housing, that design work, like I don't think the townhouses look great. They look really nice. That senior housing looked very like industrial and not
Yeah.
in the kind of
Soviet
character
era
of the
look.
area. Yeah. I was like,
Mr.
am I
Mr. Putin's looking far west, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, there was an awful lot of very nice-looking BMWs in those renderings, so I
Yeah.
didn't know who was moving in there,
Well, we know where people want to spend their cash these days, their car.
That's what we want.
They were
But
all
yeah,
electric
but those are
BMWs.
things we can discuss and then.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the second rendering of the townhouses with the different elevations and, features on them with the different gables, that I think is something that we're looking at, positively, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Similar to that of Warwick Grove.
Yes,
in Warwick.
we looked at those,
Yeah.
One of the other couple of things, we had to make a lot of adjustments to deal with all the parking, because as we started figuring out how many parking spaces were required, and it's 1,173 parking spaces. That's a lot of cars, and 5 years from now, maybe there won't be that many people driving cars, I don't know, but
Because what our code recommends? Okay.
Yes,
All right, well,
yes.
we could probably work with that.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
Because if you're dealing with seniors,
yeah.
they probably won't
How many
have two
Beamers can they,
cars.
afford?
What's that?
How many Beamers can they afford?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right, 1,172, we'll drop it.
But you also, in your narrative discussion on the zone, you're talking about parking coming in from the back. And every time we try to draw it that way, it doesn't really work because that kind of village look with, I call it like a back alley, and it doesn't fit on the amount of land that we can develop. So
Both-
you'll
in
see
both
some of the
locations-
drawings.
On both parcels?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's really also a grading issue, right, Fred?
Because there's a lot of slopes, and we had didn't want to run into a steep slope issue, and, there's a lot of rocks up here. So, it was, between the rocks and the slope and the wetlands and the open areas,
And we also have some significant retaining walls already, and we would have more. And plus having to respect the wetland buffer, 100-foot. I mean, according to the code, you can put some things in the wetland buffer, like walls or something minor like that, but no buildings or roads or anything. So we had,
Was the
it
issue
seems like
coming
a
off
lot of
Rye Hill?
property, But after you start respecting all these buffers, it's really not as big as you think. And then trying to fit everything is a lot more difficult.
The Rye Hill entrance then that you're talking about is the issue, or the Rye Hill Road? Or I know there was Orange Turnpike, I think, and Rye Hill were the two options.
Rye Hill is to the far left on that drawing.
Oh, I see, you got three entrances off.
Four.
Rye Hill, yeah. Four.
Which I think we got to cut that back, but I'm not the planner. That would be a plan. That's short.
All I know is when I came up the first time to walk the site, we met one of the neighbors, and one of their children was quite interested in where the roads would go because they have friends that live on the other side, and they were hoping to be able to drive straight through. So I don't want to disappoint that young future voter, but...
There you go. There you go. All right.
Okay. Thank you. I don't want to take
All
up
right.
your whole
Thank you
evening.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it, thanks. We'll get in contact, and we'll set that up, and the workshop, and we'll get this going, okay?
Thanks again.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for making the trip.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next up is 8.1, which is the local law, amending the comprehensive plan, discussion regarding the fee schedule with local law 1-2022, amending the comprehensive plan in Chapter 57 of the Town Code to establish a new Chapter 40 rental, short-term, et cetera. So we essentially have to set our fees there.
Right, so there was also a letter from the building inspector. That was item number 6 on his list. Need to know the inspection fee amounts determined by the town board, permit fees, and renewal fees. So I would suggest we offer $500 for the application fee, because it does seem the building inspector is going to have to do a lot of reviews, fire safety, homeowners association, insurance. There's a lot of things he has to look into. So $500 for the application fee, $100 for the inspection fees, and then a $50 renewal fee, because people are allowed to have a 3-year or 5-year. So I think the renewal fee should be a lot less work for him, so that's why I'm suggesting $50.
Annual?
Annual, yes.
Wait, the renewal fee, the permit renewal fee is annual,
I believe the renewal fee is annual, yes,
even if they have a 3 or 5-year permit?
because I think he still has to go out there and look and make sure every year that everything is being done.
Wouldn't that be the inspection, though?
No, the inspection is for the fire safety.
All right. So, anybody have anything else to add to that? did you want to put that in a motion, Councilwoman Bingham?
I'll make a motion that the application fee be $500 for the short-term rentals. That was local law number 1 of 2022. The inspection fees for the fire safety would be $100, and the annual renewal fee would be $50.
And that's just for short-term rentals, right?
Yes.
Anybody want to second that?
Poole will second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Anchorello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved.
Going on with that letter, there were a couple of things the building inspector had questions on. I don't know if we're going to discuss that tonight or with the attorney-client.
Yeah, we could do that in attorney-client, because he had some items that I discussed with him as well in our meeting.
Okay, so attorney-client, thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. Okay, so we have I'm going to make a resolution to allocate fund balance to cover over expenditures in the following specific line items. And these are all going to be taken from the fund balances which are in each specific district line item. And the fund balances that we're taking from were balances that were as of 12/31/2020. So in the SL00 street lighting, we were negative $65,078.40. Their fund balance is currently $6,853.09. In the SW00, which is water administration, we were negative $71,948.06, and their current fund balance is $178,480.28. In SW01, which is water district number 1, they were negative $59,190.95. So that'll be taken from their fund balance of $173,562.10. Water District Number 7, which is SW07, was negative $4,577.38, which will be removed from their fund balance currently, and that has had a balance as of 12/31 of $45,663.83. And finally, SW8, which is Water District Number 8, was negative $43,080.02 for a total of where their fund balance was totaled $188,714.07. So I will make that motion to make those transfers from fund balance into those specific accounts.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
The street lighting, that's not enough fund balance to cover, so we're going to be, I don't know, raising.
No, so what's going to happen with that? So this is, as far as the street lighting, that's a product of the solar farm costs. And we know that we were sold a bag of goods that didn't exist. So we're going to have to take that from the general fund, and we'll make that adjustment most likely at the next meeting.
Thank you.
So we'll
Yep.
deplete the fund balance for street lighting?
Street lighting, yeah,
Okay.
it'll be totally depleted. So that was seconded by
Sal.
Sal. Okay. Any other questions? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Anchorello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, Justice Court, transfer request. So I want our council to review this, and I did want a little more information on this, but there were some accounts that had balances right now. So that were essentially dormant but had balances. So the milligram bail account, I don't want to read account numbers here. I don't think it's right to read account numbers because then somebody out there could have,
I don't think it's necessary. I think at the end of the day, my suggestion is normally to check in with the Office of Court Administration on any of these transfers, before they're accomplished, to make sure that there's not any issue or that they've been consulted and don't see any problem with doing it.
so before then we make this motion, can you
Yeah, I can reach out to
could
them.
reach out to them with all these totals on here?
Yeah, I can just
Okay.
kind of explain to them. I'm not going to be concerned so much with the amounts, but in other words, the situation and why it's being transferred.
All right, that sounds good. So I'll make a motion to table this to March 7th.
Poole will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Next item is order for Water District Number 12. So there was a geologist issues with rock exploration. So I will leave that up to Councilwoman Bingham.
For Water District 12, when we were putting in the work to have the new water main, we wanted a location where we weren't going to hit a lot of rock because, as everybody knows, Orange County is full of rocks. So originally, McGooey Hauser Etzel, the engineering firm, was going to have an outside firm do it. But our highway department was much more economically feasible for them to do the work by not drilling, but using the backhoe to make some excavations, see what kind of rocks were there or not there. So they based the placement of the new water main on what the geological soils were. So there's a change order, and we need to, it just basically says that in accordance with Section 2 of our agreement dated June 2020, to remove rock exploration services from our agreement. So this change order, as such, McGooey Hauser Etzel would like to eliminate Section 5.1.2.2.2, all those twos again, in the estimated amount of $8,000 for the agreement. And that was a savings to the Water District. So I'll make a motion for the supervisor to sign this change order with McGooey Hauser Etzel regarding the $8,000.
Second.
Discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Next up is a Highway Department vehicle for surplus, along with some results from the recent auction international.
Okay, so the surplus is a 1989 International tandem dump truck. Still runs good. We're gonna put it up on Auctions International. The frame is a little tweaked on it, but somebody I'm sure will buy it. I'm not gonna put a starting bid on that one. We'll just see where it goes.
Motion approving surplus the 1989 International Diesel Model Number XPR 4550-U. I'll make the motion.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Then, John, you have some results from the...
For the auctions that we just recently ended and agreed to, we grossed $55,525 on that one. With Auction International's fee, I believe is 3%. I could be wrong, or 6%. I'm not sure, but, we'll give them their fee, so. Pretty good hit.
Anything else you have?
I do. Bucket truck purchase.
Okay.
My guys went out. We looked at 3 different bucket trucks that would be feasible for the town. This will be for tree removal. We have borrowed bucket trucks in the past. We have also hired out people with bucket trucks to do dangerous trees near the roadways. Most of the time when we do have to hire them out, they're about $2,300 a day if they do not go by per tree, which they could. Anyway, long story short, we did find a 02 GMC bucket truck. That was originally $32,000. Rob Marsh negotiated it down to $25,000, and this would be pretty good investment for the town.
There were two other trucks that were also,
There was one right around the 40 mark, Tony, one was right around the 34 mark. They
Yep.
looked at all of them, and this was their favorable one.
yeah, so,
No miles, one owner?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they used it basically for
I think
site
this one
work.
actually had, I think this one was two owners.
Yes, but the second owner used it for site work. It was mostly for power lines. It was four-wheel drive. It's a good little truck, so, and it's perfect for what we need it for.
Go for about 110 new.
Yeah, right in that ballpark. And, you know, we was able to borrow the schools, which is not high enough to
Right,
do.
this is a 70-foot
This
reach.
is 70-foot
And the
reach.
schools
yeah.
is like 45.
Right, which that worked out for us for Berry Road, where we was able to trim some of the high stuff. We're getting prepared to redo that road, so that worked out good for that, but not high enough for some of the trees that we do have to take, the danger trees. And with our Orange and Rockland, we can't get the services we got years ago through Orange and Rockland. It just doesn't work out that way anymore.
John, is there like a safety, like certification course that the guys can, that the highway department members, I don't want to say the guys, can take?
We have
Listen, more for their safety, but also for liability.
We have
issues.
we have two guys certified as we speak.
Okay.
And we're gonna actually go to a class with the Village of Harriman, or I'm sorry, the school, Monroe Berry School Garage. They will also do certification for at least 4 more guys. So we'll have at least 6 guys certified. And we'd also like probably our mechanics, once we find out, a class to take to actually certify them in the inspection part of the bucket, so.
So this is purchase of $25,000 is coming out of their equipment line, which I believe presently has $80,000 in it. So I would like to that purchase. They actually would like to go down and pick it up tomorrow. So that's why it was requested to be put on the agenda for tonight. So I'll make that motion.
Poole will second.
Motion.
I think it's a great idea.
Val, I'll get you the actual line item in the budget. I apologize for not having it tonight.
There is a
I
line
did
item.
put it in there. Yes, right, that's it. DB 5130-2000,
Is there a dollar amount?
$25,000. Okay.
Just to have one more request, if I may, which I forgot to put on the, agenda, if you don't
Right.
mind. I'd like permission from the board to possibly hire another seasonal laborer to start possibly in June and end in December. This will be a 40-hour per week position at $19 per hour, not to exceed 1,040 hours. And I would like to post that in the record and then conduct interviews and bring back a favorable candidate, I hope, if people want to work.
Have any recommendations there?
John, you really didn't use any part-timers for snow removal this year?
No, we did
right?
not, no.
You didn't have any, right?
No, everything was
Not
all-
able to get any, or just didn't need them, or?
We didn't even put up for them, so we was able to work out the way we did and just
Okay.
kept it
And
going.
what do you see this part-timer doing?
He'll be right out with the
Everything?
crews. He'll be right, we start him in June, end him in December, so he'll be right through leaf season. He'll be through our our Berry Road project. Fixing catch basins, and hopefully, have some skills and learn some more.
Got to call the question for the, thank you, Councilwoman Houle. I have to call the question for the truck purchase.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all right.
Jumped the gun.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
And I,
Okay. So now, does anybody want to make a motion for the part-timer at the Highway Department from June through December, not to exceed 1,040 hours at $19 an hour?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Council, I just have one question. Part-timers, I would believe are exempt from the union contract?
I'd have to check it. I don't think they're included. I can take a look now in
Yeah.
the meantime.
All right, so we'll call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved.
Thank you all.
Yeah, Sal did. Thank you, John.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right. Item 8.8, which is a Chester Fire District sewer connection request. So the Chester Fire District has requested to connect to a sewer line that runs in front of the existing Trout Brook Firehouse at 712 Lakes Road. The Chester Fire District has plans to build a new firehouse and replace the existing Trout Brook Firehouse. The line is located in the town of Monroe, but it's on a county road. It's on Lakes Road.
Right.
And they would tap into the Moodna Sewer District using the allocation from the town of Chester, which has allocation. We don't have any allocation. The town of Monroe does not in the Moodna District.
Does that get metered through Monroe?
I am not sure. That's a good question.
Because
But that's a
the-
question that you should probably know because you're on the Moodna Commission.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know where those meters are, to be honest with you. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I would just assume since the line is where it is, it's got to be.
But listen, maybe we can request them to put in a meter at that location.
Well, listen, I think at this point, we have pending litigation, some other issues going on that we should, if there's a way that we can get whatever that allocation is out of, listen, it's a firehouse. It's not a 200 unit, apartment complex, but it, at this point, I think every little bit counts. And I think it's going to look like we're granting.
Well, we're not granting, the Moodna District is the
I know,
one
it's
that's
all-
granting it. We're just granting them permission to hook into the lines that come through Monroe. Because the first, 40 feet from the road into their property line is town of Monroe. The firehouse is actually in the town
Right,
of
in
Chester.
Chester, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
I-
I'm just saying that there's got to be a way to figure out to swing their usage over to Chester's. Is it village or town? That's town.
Town.
Yeah.
Well, council and I had spoken about this because we knew of the pending lawsuit. And, I mean, I leave it up to him and his expertise.
I'm not wearing my Moodna hat right now. I'm just
No, I know
saying,
that, yeah.
I'm-
Yeah.
I think we need to review it, and they were only asking for planning board comments, not really town board permission in their letter. They mentioned the plan, but that wasn't in the letter I got. So I think we still need to review it,
Yeah.
before
And this is
we-
just a discussion. There was no.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
No, I
motion
hear you.
here, so.
I just, in light of, like I said, this pending litigation, I think we want to make sure before we grant anything that we're good to go,
How do they hook up currently to the sewer?
So they are currently, I believe, on septic.
So they have no sewer hookup? And how long did they want to hook up? Was this a permanent? This is
They're
permanent?
replacing an existing firehouse, I assume with a bigger one,
Mm-hmm.
so they want to now connect to the municipal line.
John, how often do you guys clean the fire trucks? How often do you guys clean the fire trucks at Monbassia?
Well, the district, basically, anytime it's warm enough to do it outside, we do it, but usually once a week, if anything. Sometimes you come back from a run, you wet them down, but, to actually thoroughly clean them once a month, once a week, whenever we can get to them.
I know it sounds like a bizarre question. I'm just trying to think of the most regular use of water at the location. So. It drains into the storm sewer. Mhm. Okay. And do we know what their plans for their new firehouse are going to include? Will it include community space?
I have no idea, but that's really Chester's, that's not.
So that doesn't have
Right,
anything?
but
No,
that
it
would
doesn't have
make her
anything to do
point
with
as
us.
to how much sewage could be produced.
Well,
If it's
and
at a
that's- right,
community
right.
event.
Well,
I
the
understand
drains
your
that
point.
would actually be inside the firehouse wouldn't go into the actual sewer anyway. The drains inside the firehouse would go into the drainage that, you know,
Well, my question of washing the fire truck is moot
that
then.
wouldn't affect the amount of sewer being used.
Right, but if they had a community room and they had some kind of event with 100 people showing up.
Well, that's a whole different, using
that's a different
toilets is
point.
one thing,
That
right?
could
That's her
produce.
point.
In which case, we would want to meter it at the hookup.
I'm looking on the plan right now, because I had it sent to me, and I could send everybody the photo of it, but it doesn't, I'm not seeing any septic system or existing. I don't know what exists. Those are questions, I guess, council can pose to Chester in a
Yeah,
letter.
we can find out.
That could have been leached.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a leach field here. I just don't see anything on the
Probably don't
plan.
have the room for that, the expansion,
Yeah.
hence the reason to.
All right, so we'll have Mr. Nugent address the questions to the district. All right, thank you. Okay. Next item up is a discussion regarding the request for town water access submitted by Sura Horowitz of 16 Mercury Avenue. That's located in Water District Number 2. I know Councilwoman Bingham had some thoughts on this.
Right, that house is not in the district. That district was formed for Skyline Estates back in 1971. It was 2 phases, an A and a B, and as I said, that house never was included in that. That house is kind of set back from the road. I would suggest possibly we offer them an outside water district agreement, but the accessory line that would go from Mercury Avenue to their house, to me, looks rather long. They would have to figure out how much it would cost for that line to be put in. Not only, you have some fees, I believe, Supervisor, as far as back charges for maintenance that the district has incurred over the years. So I think it could be a little bit expensive for them.
We'll give him the option. I will,
Okay.
finalize the calculating those fees, but we could put that on the agenda for next,
Right, and then I think Mr. Nugent had a revised outside water district agreement, which we just recently did for District 10. So this would be along those lines. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we need any motion tonight.
no.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other portion of that is, since that's a big piece of property, we were just limiting it to one
One house.
hookup.
Well, the way the outside water district agreement is, it sets specific amounts that can be used by that house.
Right.
And it would be only for that one house. So if they ever did decide to subdivide and put more houses up there, that outside water district would not apply to any of the other homes.
That's correct. There's usually.
Yeah. And also, some of the research I did said that if additional homes were to be built up in that area, in that skyline area, that additional wells might have to be drilled.
Typically, at that point, they have to petition, to extend the district rather than outside water user agreements, which are usually limited to kind of a case-by-case property.
Good.
Okay.
Right. Next item on the agenda from old business is item 9.2, senior center bid for security improvements. What? Go ahead. No, go ahead. You're
So
good.
I think we're good, right? We have the dates. Do you have the dates for that?
It's already been advertised? It was in today's paper, right? Today's paper.
Would you mind just those other companies that bid on it? Could you notify them? You did it right, boy. You're right on top of it. All right, Val. Thank you. Awesome. All right, thanks. Thanks.
Monday morning flatfoot over here.
If they contact you, for like a secondary walkthrough, let me know, or you can forward the emails to me or whatever. All right. So what? Say.
I said, after you said it, I was like, yeah, Monday morning flatfoot over here, you know?
This is gonna be an ugly executive session. I can tell you that right now.
You know, Mike, I love you. Come
I
on,
know, I'm
pal.
just kidding. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Anything else to add to old business? Public comment.
Brower.
Mr. Brower, come on down.
It is.
Yes.
There you go.
Good evening.
Good evening,
see you,
Ward.
Ward.
Robert, private citizen, member of the Conservation Committee. I want to thank you, new
welcome.
councilman, for the open house,
Yes,
an opportunity to maybe recruit some members on the Conservation Commission.
that's the plan.
And we have something else also in common. From reading the article in the Photo News, you have a son that was stationed in Korea, or is?
He is stationed, yep.
Okay, related story. I got a voyage, or took a voyage, my Uncle Sam, when I was I took one of the last troop ships that was World War II. Now, this is 10, 15 years after hostilities ended in Korea. Daniel S. Sultan was the ship. There were two of them, one U.S. man. Both of them were restricted to very low speeds. When the man, because it had a hull crack, it had a 24-hour standby welding crew. That was always a nice, secure feeling.
Going across the Pacific, yeah.
So, looking at that ocean, that is an immense volume of water.
Oh, wow.
And thinking back, I said, how could we ever possibly fill that ocean up with trash? Well, we've done it. This is the astounding thing. We've done that. That was mission impossible, and we accomplished it, and not a good accomplishment. So members, which we look for in the Conservation Commission, we propose. We don't implement. You guys implement. We just propose. And we're getting to a point where we have to address this issue. Now, I'm happy to note that in Europe, in the European community, the Netherlands and Finland, they're addressing, we used to call recycling, but feedback I'm getting from the general public is it doesn't really work. When we throw everything in that 40-ton compactor, and we expect them to pull out the glass, the plastic, the paper, that's not going to happen. And then a couple of years ago when I heard that China stopped taking our recycles because it was just useless, they ended up dumping in the ocean. So these two countries that I mentioned, the Netherlands and Finland, they've started what they call a circular economy, which I'm sure most people are aware of. And that is when we propose a new product, whatever, we have to have we want a product that lasts a long time, one that can be refurbished, and if it can't be, then the materials that are left over should have another purpose other than going to the landfill. The present model we have is a linear. You take raw materials from manufacturing, construct something, use it up, landfill or ocean. That has to change, obviously. And that's going to affect me. I'm into this lifespan. But my sons, my granddaughter, that will pay a severe price on this. We need to get into that. That's the things on the commission that we try to get. And there was an old adage many years ago. It's sort of fallen out of vogue. And that is, you think globally, but you have to act locally, because that's where you have the clout. So that's where we need members to get in and get on. And old people like our friends on the highway department, not to use so much salt, if they can use more sand. That's all we can do is cajole them. We can't force them to do it. And most of them will work with you. They get a chance. And this is really our mission. So I'm asking people to give us a shot, volunteer. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you for your dedication to the commission.
You're welcome. Good night, gentlemen and ladies.
Ward, I wanted
you.
to make a comment. The Repair Cafe that I believe Warwick and some other towns run. It kind of was put on hold during COVID, but I
yeah.
think it'll be making a comeback. So your point about not just throwing things away, if we can actually repair some of these things, and sometimes it's, somebody doesn't know how to repair a lamp, and this repair cafe will help to rewire so you don't have to throw out that lamp or a watch or a toaster oven or whatever. And that's exactly to your point. We got to find a way to make our things last longer and not just throw it in the garbage because you can't get it fixed.
But in Finland, they took that, it had to start it at the early age of kids going into kindergarten and whatnot. And they would assign them these little play programs. Now, we're going to build something. How are we going to do it? Okay, now, where is that? What are you going to do with it? And the outcome of that is they have industries where they actually take, like most of them, when we're done with our phones, our cell phones and whatnot, we discard them. And they crunch them all up and whatever. But they actually refurbish them. And it's a little skeptical to say, do I want a refurbished phone? But they've worked it out where they actually are reliable and cost effective. And concepts like that pay off, And industry is always based on profit. And if it's cheap, make things do. Have 8 billion people and expanding, you can't be throwing everything away. So this is a well-taken point, and Mary, you're right, I've heard that. And those are classic things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward.
Thank you, Ward. And I'll see you Monday.
Okay.
Oh, the public comment, right? All right. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel, litigation, and contract. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Bull eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scankrow, aye.
Aye.
All right, so moved.
What's that? I know. I've been called worse.
You know what? You know what?
You know what the
You know
sad
what?
thing is?
Trump is sitting back, gaining votes by the second.
No. And you know what?
Minutes all. Want to approve them tonight? It was an hour and 15 minutes, but who's counting?
I was impressed.
Yeah.
All right. Would like, Jake, you all set? All right, thank you. Thank you, bud. So, I would like to make a motion to return to the Town of Monroe meeting of February 22nd and come out of executive session.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
And I,
Okay, so moved. I would like to make a motion to approve that this excludes elected officials, that the employees who work for 1,820 hours, and those that work that's a 35-hour work week, and those that work a 40-hour work week, which is 2,080 hours, receive a one-time payment from ARPA monies at 35 cents an hour. So the two departments that would receive the 40-hour a week payment would be Dial-A-Bus and Highway. The rest of the departments would be at 1,820 hours for the year. And the Smith Clove Park employees would receive 17.5 cents an hour. And I would like to speak with the mayor about possibly providing the balance, if he chooses to do so, for the Smith Clove Park employees. So I would like to make that motion.
Who will second?
Any other discussion? Was that clear enough, council? Clear to you? What did I just say? Do I sound like Mr. Geralman over in Blooming Grove? No, it's okay. I trust you were listening.
Can I get that in writing, please?
Yes. Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
and I.
Okay, so moved. Next up, Councilwoman Bingham.
Yes, we need to set a CCR fee for the application when they go to the planning board. I'd like to set that fee at $1,000 for planning board application fee.
Is that for the planning board, or is that for when they come to us?
I think it's filing the application
With the town?
Okay, so I'll
Yeah.
amend that to
Yeah.
read for the filing with the application with the town, a $1,000 fee.
And then we would amend the fee schedule to add that.
And amend the fee schedule as needed.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
And I,
Okay. So moved. Anything else for the public? No? Anybody? Need anything? No? Okay.
Alex?
Thank you for attending. Appreciate it. Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 9:50.
I will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
And I.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Jake, thank you for all your help tonight. Appreciate it.
Good night, Jake.
Good night,
Night,
Jake.
Jake.
This is a late one.
There is a lot of stuff. I have two of these.
I gotta go call Luis.
I have two of
Luis said,
these.
please call me. So
Go back.
Oh.
Get some good sleep.